What's going on, guys? Here with another episode of VanGo After Dark. Tonight we're going to be talking a bit about the recent activity regarding the CVA, kind of clarify some of our positions and our messages, and hopefully if anyone else has some things they'd like to comment on, we can come together a solution and hopefully keep the community strong and move forward in an effective manner.
So earlier this week, someone in the vaping industry brought forward a concern. They posted a letter from the CVA to its members stating that they were proud to announce the Quantum Ventures is now part of the CVA as a platinum member. Now, of course, there were a lot of different concerns that were brought up during it. What was one of the most frustrating things for us is to see the stance that the CVA really took. It wasn't a stance that they had any sort of responsibility to make it right with the industry. They decided to go ahead, do such a big thing, and act shocked that people were not in support of it, and they kept on using words or using phrases that made us look like we're the bad guys, we're the dumb ones. Oh, they just want to help. But when you really look at it, what are they trying to help us fight? They are trying to help us fight their parent company. Now, how dumb does that sound? Not only is it not about the money, we sold our credibility as an association fighting against Big Tobacco because we are now funded by Big Tobacco. So when these news outlets look at us and say, okay, yeah, you guys are saying a good thing, you guys are trying to promote change, who are you backed by? We can now say publicly that we're backed by Big Tobacco, the very company that we are trying to fight against. It doesn't matter that their money is going to a good cause. The ends do not justify the means. For PETA, they fight for animal rights. If they start taking money from butchers because they want the tax write-off or whatever else they have in their agendas, excuse my language, but they will look so dumb. They wouldn't do such a thing. And so for the CVA to completely eradicate all of our credibility without consulting anyone, this is not a deal that just happened overnight. This happened weeks and weeks. It's been in the process, maybe even months. Why do they not feel that the industry deserves an explanation and even deserves to be part of this conversation? Maybe we would have accepted it. I'm not against the money. If Big Tobacco came to us and they said, yeah, we're serious about fighting cigarettes, we're going to be putting messages on our cigarette packages, we're going to be pushing the message of vaping, then that's a whole new thing. But when they come in, they get a platinum membership. They give us $15K for the cause to fight against Quebec. There's also rumors that their products are not allowed in Quebec. So it's kind of an interesting situation here. I'm not going to do too much sitting on things that are not fact. What we know as facts, they took money from a company that was owned by Big Tobacco. For everyone's information, this company, Blue, they've been around for years. They didn't come out just yesterday. They've been around in 2011 to 2013. They were responsible for about 75% of the international vaping marketing. So this is not a small company. They've been around for years. A few years ago, they were purchased in a $7 billion deal. Now, this is a huge company. They gave us $15,000. Does it look like true initiative? Does it look like a true, genuine? In my opinion, there's nothing genuine, and we allowed ourselves to be bought out. And again, it comes down to the fact of there was no proper process. There was apparently meetings all the time, but no CVA member knows about these meetings. How valid is this meeting? How valid is an association that represents the industry when none of the industry supports that association?
We as a vaping community, we're more grassroots, right? Where we spread our messages, where the network is through social media, Facebook, it's through our influencers, the Instagram ones, and it's through, picking up the phone and calling your neighborhood store or, the other store down the street or in another town and, catching up. The CVA, although our reservations, they are basically the voice of the industry. And so when people like the CVA come out and say, these guys are platinum members, a lot of people will take that to heart and say, okay, these guys are platinum members. I can give them my support. They're now part of the vape community. Now, so they, with this $15,000, with their membership fees, whatever it is, $150 or whatever it may be a month, they have gotten access to our avenues. But now, when you flip it around and you think about them, do we have access to their avenues? So I'm going to talk about 3 avenues that Big Tobacco has. The first one is time. They've been lying to the people for decades, since, the 1900s, the early 1900s. They were saying that tobacco is fine. Most doctors recommend Camels. The avenue of time now, now that it's all come out, of course, we're not going to think that, yeah, it's all good. But the avenue of time and brainwashing generations and generations of culture and decades of culture, we can't get that avenue. The second avenue is all the international reach that they have. They, when we were in Europe, going through the airports, they have many smoking lounges, and all of them are sponsored by Camel or Marlboro or any of these other companies. And so we don't have that reach. Are they going to, again, go and use those avenues to further our cause? I don't think so. And then the third avenue is the convenience stores, tobacconists, and all these other stores that they deal with. I heard there are unconfirmed reports that Vape, it's not Blue, it's another company, Vape, was trying to get a very prevalent chain to sign an exclusivity agreement with them. Basically, they were trying to pressure because Imperial Tobacco, which owns Vape, they control around 50% of the cigarette industry. So they basically told them, if you not carry Vape, and if you do not only carry Vape and it could be exclusive to Vape, we're going to pull away our cigarettes. So they are, using their own market power to control that avenue as well. Now, it's not only that. Are they gonna start, like Sadiq said, are they gonna start putting warnings and suggesting people, hey, switch to vaping? Are they gonna do that kind of stuff? I doubt it.
In my opinion, it is in their advantage. Now, first of all, let's just make it clear that when we say big tobacco, these are companies that have made money selling poison and killing people for decades. They are not dumb. They have teams of people that are watching everything that's going on. They know, they have identified that there is a Canadian industry. Now, they've been around long before us. We cannot think, as the vice president of CVA, in his response, say that they realized that they're losing money and they decided that they don't need to do anything. They've been around for years. They have already seen that vaping was coming long before VanGo and Dash Vapes and Vape Meat and all these other companies. They've been around here. They didn't come out with Blue just like that. Blue took years to develop, to create, to plan. And if they're in 2011, we're already leading the marketing spend. I don't think that it started in January 2011. What their main hope is that they can make sure that they control it. When they come in, they start advocating. And they go to Quebec and they say, oh, blah, 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 we support CVA. We want all these things. What does it mean? Just because they're trying to push vaping, what if they decide that, oh yeah, we think it's fair that they go through rigorous testing. Yep. Each flavor should be $1 million to go through. How? Yeah, okay, I guess that's pushing the vaping industry, but who are the ones who are going to afford to do this? Who will be big tobacco? So why are we letting the wolf, the one that we're actually fighting, the poison dealer themselves, why are we letting them come in, wear the same CVA badge that I wear, that all you guys wear? Why are they wearing our badge, fighting the good cause against their parent company? This is completely unacceptable. And on top of that, the response that we've gotten from the CVA board members, from the CVA vice president, you can all see it. You can go. When I posted just an hour ago about going live and about bringing these to light, we were mocked. We had Shy Bay, Charlie Pisano talking nonsense on my comment. They couldn't wait and come on right now and bring forward an actual dialogue. A few days ago when I responded, Shy started harassing people. He started telling other people that they have comprehension problems. So instead of addressing the concerns that we're bringing forward, they are mocking people for comprehension problems. And now they're going around calling me a conspiracy theorist because I am afraid of big tobacco coming in, because they think that we should all be, yeah, big tobacco is coming. They told us they have good intentions. You're a conspiracy theorist if you think that big tobacco has not good intentions. You are blind, or you have some knowledge that you are not sharing with all of us. There's only two options, and we're not going to sit around and be quiet about this while the industry gets raped. If this is going to happen, which it will, I do not want to be put down in history as I just stood by and watched as Big Tobacco came in, bought CVA, bought the CVA board, and we all just stood around and watched it happen because we trusted the CVA board. We trusted the one that had Beatrice as their board a few months ago, the ones that have had so much problems. What about Sean Casey and all these rumors about Flavor Art? The problem is, I have no problem with businesses doing what they have to. Flavor Art, they want to make sure that they're in on it in the long run. For sure, everyone wants to. I want VanGo to do well. Am I going to use and abuse my power to make sure that I focus on myself? If there is going to be emissions testing coming up, why do we all not know about it? Do you think I would release million flavors and not think about this? If we were given the true information, if it's coming, let the public know. Okay, sorry, hold on. Shai has something to say. He wants us to correct. It's not Shai Bay, as his Facebook name suggests. It's Shai Backman. Just for the record, that's the best thing that they have to put in right now. There has been so much truth that has been coming out over the last few days about the actions of the CVA. Again, we have trusted them for years. Why have we trusted them blindly? I'm as much part of the problem. I thought the CVA was doing what was best for the Canadian industry. When all this came out, when all these different controversies have come out, everyone's kind of turned a blind eye. But at this point, this is in our face. They have gone and taken money from a company that's a subsidiary of Big Tobacco. They have not consulted the vaping industry. They didn't let us know that they were going to do this. They knew about this for weeks and weeks. And at this point, it's just too much. We are calling for reform on the CVA. We're calling for true representation of the vaping industry.
Transparency is a big thing. Just really know what's going on.
Transparency.
That seemed to be a big issue with a lot of people that reached out, was lack of transparency. Because an organization or association like this is necessary, especially against players like this. So we need to have we don't have the money of Big Tobacco, so we need to come together collectively to really make sure we're looking out for the best interest of the whole community.
That's exactly what it is. It's not about taking care of a few. Of course, we're in business. Business is business. I have nothing against any of the other companies that I've mentioned as business people, all for them. This is not personal. This has nothing to do with a personal attack on anyone. And I wish the best for the whole industry. I am just concerned with the future of vaping, the fact that the company or the association that's supposed to be representing us does not have all of our best interests at heart. They have their best interests at heart. And if it doesn't please them to let the public know, they will not let them know. And when they spring on announcements like Big Tobacco joining us, they don't feel like we all deserve a recommendation. We don't deserve an explanation. We don't deserve to be put at rest. We just should accept what the CVA is doing and saying as gospel truth and not question them in any way. Look at the comments. Not that they haven't reached out and tried to make or appease the vape community. They're pretty much saying, we did what we did, like it or not, we don't care. They call me a conspiracy theorist. They call my concerns minute. Where are the answers?
Another concern that people have been talking about in the comments and that we've been seeing in posts is about the flavor testing. Yeah, there was a certain member of the vape community, Simon. He put a post up regarding, calling out Sean Casey. Hey, can you tell us what's going on with this? The flavor testing, and please put it on the post. Anything in the inbox will be screenshot and posted in here. What happened? We're all waiting. I was refreshing it, seeing what's going to happen, and what happens? It gets basically resolved by a 1 hour phone call with Charlie, and no updates to the rest of everyone. So really, again, it's the same. It went down the same path of we'll tell you if we think you need to know, but right now, okay, maybe Simon is fine. Maybe they do have a good reason, and maybe they do have good, backing behind it. But it seems like only Simon is allowed to know, and nobody else is allowed to know that. So what I would really like to know is what's going on with this testing. Is it only going to be, is it only going to benefit companies like Flavor Art? And if so, why do we not have a say in it?
Apparently, there was a meeting a few weeks ago. The CVA said that there was a meeting and that nobody attended. But it's very unfortunate because nobody gets the invites. In an age, we live in a digital age. I posted my post. I did not tag Charlie. I did not tag Shy Beckman, but they knew. They were there within 2 minutes commenting, both of them. But where are they with the answers? They're very quick. I didn't even have to tag them to be on the post. But where's the truth? Where are the answers? Where are they when people are asking for answers? They're there if you want to fight with them about childish things. They will be all day. They'll sit there and bicker about random things. They'll talk about hockey games, stuff like that. But when it gets down and serious, right now, where are the answers? If there's flavor testing coming, I'm totally okay. If you tell me that this is what's safe for the industry, this is what's needed, all for it. 100% I support it. But I'm not going to support it if you tell us that we have been campaigning for this for the last few years, but by the way, we'll let everyone know now, after years and years, that this is what we're campaigning for. Where are the answers to all these questions? Every time people come out and ask these questions, they get shut down. Flavor testing, I've heard about this rumor for quite a while. Why has no one said anything? Is it on the board? Is it on the table or not? Just answer the question. Charlie answered several times. It's a rumor. So it's a rumor. So there's no discussions at the parliament level or any level for emissions testing. Is there someone that can corroborate this? Like, we're supposed to take this just...
Is there meeting minutes?
What it really comes down to is not even the fact of the money. It's not anything. At this point, we feel that the CVA needs reform. Now, after the reform, if everything comes out as stands, then that's good. We've brought to the table nothing. But in my opinion, what we need is an audit. We need to know where has all the money come from in the last few years and where has it gone. At 280 members, it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out they have anywhere from 50 to 70, 80 grand coming in every month. They've told us that there's 50,000 going to the government relations firm. Where is the rest of the money? We're not saying anyone is taking it, but where is the transparency? I sit on the board of other non-for-profit organizations. Every single month, we have to go through the budget. We have to go through the reports. And in this interest of transparency and like to keep the public support, you just have to do these things. If you want to claim not-for-profit, then you should appease the people you're pretending to represent. Not go onto their live streams and mock them and say, we've given you time, we've given you answers. Answer all of them and make the public happy again and let us all support one cause. We want nothing more than to unite the industry and for us all to be under one banner. But at this point, the CVA is looking to get 15,000 from Big Tobacco because they've burned so many people over the last few years. They have no support from the vaping industry left. So of course they're going to turn to blue e-cigs because they can't turn to the e-cig industry. Who's going to support them? Who's going to support when their board members have so much controversy? Who's going to support when just a few months ago, Beatrice is talking about all this stuff that's apparently happening in backdoor meetings? No one really had a full stance and really was out there with the PR. Where is the PR for CVA?
The board members and transparency. There was a few questions about certain other board members with criminal histories. I really want to know more about that. Do you guys have any information about that? Put it in below. Put it in the comments. Let's talk about these issues that we have questions of. We have Shai. He was gracious enough to present himself here, and we have him here. It looks like he's listening and responding to questions. So this is awesome. You guys are awesome. Let's put these questions down here. Let's get them answered.
So Shai's asking, why don't we start our own advocacy efforts? Well, it's for a public record. We were very much part of CVRC many years ago. We started that in the hopes of spreading information, spreading the true knowledge about vaping. We were not trying to compete with the CVA in any way. We approached them on many occasions and told them our efforts. We told them exactly what we had in mind, and the only thing that they wanted to know is how many CVA members will they get. And so we told them we will push the CVA to our members as much as possible. We continue that. We have people on the island who were doing advocacy during that time in 2016. We have, I'm sure that they're here. If they speak out, then they speak out. But there's a few members on the island who are very involved with the advocacy of getting the laws for BC changed and to help the vaping industry. And what happened is at the last minute, CVA came and took all the credit for that. We've done many things. And so after CVRC went away, we put our support behind CVA and ECTA. Now, how many years are we supposed to just put our support blindly and just watch it all happen without any sort of representation? We were not part of this. So many people who have talked to who are paying CVA members do not support the actions. So who does the CVA actually represent?
Again, Nick, right here, Nick Flynn. Again, Shai, I'm pretty on the fence here, but does the CVA only represent those that are in the meetings or on the board or paying fees? That's not how industry associations typically work, and this is a part of everyone's lives.
Two things that I know would help from speaking with many people: an audit that would make very clear, it would put the books forward, and it would put any doubts to rest. And the second would be we all collectively as a group or as CVA come up with what is the mission of CVA and by what means are we willing to use, or what means are we willing to use to get to our end? Are we willing to take money from murderers to further our cause, or do we have morals? Do we have a line that we will not cross? That's what we really need to talk about here is what is the CVA, where is it going, and what does it stand for? So apparently it's come out that Sean Casey is good friends with the GR firm. So the whole GR firm, that has a lot of controversy. And then there's another thing that during the outing of Beatrice, there were screenshots going around that showed Sean Casey and Beatrice Hurley discussing emissions testing going back about 18 months. Now, maybe this is another issue that the CVA has that they don't even know they have. It kind of speaks to the whole problem of the CVA as it stands.
The back doors and everything. There's back doors in the backdoor units.
The backdoor meetings. Why is there so much? It really goes to the point of that people can have faith in. We need a board that cares about the industry as a whole, not just their core members and not just their paying members.
Yeah.
As CVA, when the regulations are coming out, they should be there holding the hands of the shops and the other juicers in this industry, helping them move forward, helping them navigate the regulations, helping us all stand firm as an industry.
We personally know several juice companies that went down because they couldn't figure out this whole label thing. They're like, you know what, it's all good. We're dropping out. And so there was many companies that had to do that, waste a lot of money, making up a new style of labels, printing it out, then realizing, oh shoot, I don't have enough information. So where was the CVA in regards to this, saying, hey, send us your labels and we'll help you out?
So Shay, we're not saying anyone's jeopardizing that. We're saying that CVA has a lot of issues that they're refusing to fix. There's no faith in the organization. How is the CVA planning on changing that? Normally, when a not-for-profit loses its faith in the organization, when people lose faith in the organization, they do things to make those steps. If you care about the association as the industry, this is not a dictatorship. The CVA is not a dictator, regime that they can say, like what we do or get out of our face. We want to work together. We want some reliability. We want some credibility to be restored to the CVA. And how are you guys going to restore the credibility?
We just want an improvement, and there's a lot of lost confidence. We want to have an association that has the confidence of most, if not all, of the vapors and all of the vape companies in Canada. That would be amazing. This is what we want, and the only way to get it is to have these very frank discussions.
It's like we're in the new age. There is, in my opinion, no problem having a meeting in a Facebook group. If we create the group, we've made it a private area where there's only few people having discussions or whatever it is. There doesn't need to be these backroom phone calls and these weird shady dealings and weird meetings. What does everyone have to hide? We are trying to fight for vapors' rights in the future. We're not trying to fight for an industry that big tobacco can now come in and take. We have no problem with competition. We have a problem with big tobacco. I don't care if they spend all their money converting people from their cigarettes to their pods. That's their own choice. I do not support them in any way, no matter what decisions they make. The day they come out and publicly say, yes, our products kill, we need a solution. We have come up with an e-cigarette and we will help people get off of the cigarettes and onto our e-cigarettes because we feel it is safer. They will not say that. They will not put down their current product. They won't. They still support their current product, cigarettes, as well as the alternative. So how is that good, not good business for them? They don't really care what happens to us, whether we thrive or not. And it's not about business. Again, the ends do not justify the means. If it means we have to take money from big tobacco to further our cause, then we're obviously doing something wrong. The CVA, if it had the credibility, which it should, if it had 90+% support of the industry, we wouldn't even have this conversation. This video would be completely wasted time because they would already have the support to raise $15K to fight against Quebec. We need to see some information. Like I said, I've worked with many not-for-profits and I'm currently on the board of not-for-profits. What we do to keep the transparency and the credibility is yearly audits, is quarterly discussions. You send it out to your members. You do what is necessary to keep your support. Your members are your customers. They are your supporters. If they're not happy, what is your purpose? I would love to join the board after the reform has happened. I'm not going to put myself in a position where my name will be used to push forward these kind of things. That's what it really comes down to is at the end of the day, I'd rather the whole company went away. I'd rather we went bankrupt before we gave any sort of support or took sides with big tobacco. The enemy's enemy. I'm not even sure. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say someone said that, but someone in the last few days have said things like, "Oh, it's the enemy's enemy," but they are the enemy. The government is the one. At the end of the day, they're just trying to protect the public. They are not informed enough on the truth about the differences, and big tobacco companies have done a really good job of, pushing that confusion. So we've got some misinformation here that there's a few people out there that have actual proof that Sean has stated these facts to many people before. that he knows and is pushing for flavor testing. He wants emissions testing for the flavors. And so Flavor Art has been preparing for this over the last few years. Again, if this is good for the industry, I'm all for it. But I'm not all for it if it's going to be thrown on us when regulations come down. If this information is out there, why is he holding it back from even members of the board? Why does Shai Beckman not know about this?
Yeah.
Shai, just to make it very clear, because all I keep seeing is that you're not really sure. Can the members see audited financial statements of the CVA? Are the members allowed to vote for a board? And what is the CVA going to do to restore public confidence in the CVA, the organization that's supposed to represent the entire industry? So, I mean, the fact that, like, no one really has answers is quite interesting. The emissions testing, all this stuff. And again, I think it really comes down to the reform for the CVA. Everyone is obviously a little confused on what the CVA is supposed to be representing. They're a little confused on what its job is. In our opinion, the CVA should be, like I said, they're supporting its members, helping people get through the regulations. They say that they're advocating, that they say they're fighting. Of course they are, but humans, we need some proof. You know, show us some proof, show us anything, give us enough to just pacify it. No one has reached out to me in the last few days to try to pacify the concerns that I have.
One comment from Shai, all members can see financials.
Audited financial statements, from what I've heard, is that no one is allowed access to this. So if we're allowed to have audited financial statements, then for sure, where are these audited financial statements? All the members of CVA that I've talked to and that have been requesting this have been shut down over and over. Our requests and demands are not very hard. They're fairly simple. You can give us answers, and that's all we want. We want to know what is going to happen. How is CVA going to reinstate the public's faith in the CVA? How are they representing us? What are they going to do going forward? What are we going to do when Imperial Tobacco has a new idea and they want to come on board? And at this point, what is the CVA if they don't really represent the industry? Do they represent more than 50% of the industry, or do they represent, the top few companies?
What we're trying to do is not bring down the CVA. It's not because that, like, we as an organization, as an industry, need something like the CVA to rally around and to help us, further. Otherwise, there's just the problem of us commons. We don't have enough power separate, and so together we can actually do something. But we need to have our confidence restored. We would love to support the CVA. We would love to, rally after anything that they would need. But there's not enough confidence in the industry to even do that.
It's a huge problem. We love what the CVA is supposed to stand for. We love the fact that, there's an organization that's standing up. So Shai is asking who's going to audit them. You have been in business for many years. Let's not play these silly games. Like, we can name 5. KPMG. I don't even need it. We can just do it. There's one we can trust. Will be an external company that's going to come in and audit. This is standard procedure.
And it's just funny that, like, you're making this a big deal. Like, oh, you're gonna pay for the audit. You're gonna do this. I think that this kind of thing is something that should be expected. We should be expecting to have audited financial statements. It's not like something so out of course that I'm asking you to pay for my flight so I can come down there and talk to you in person. No, man.
And like, the reason the CVA is hurting for funding is because nobody trusts the CVA. Of course, there's no funding. No one's giving you guys money. You're losing members every month. How many members do you get versus how many members do you lose? Because you don't care of your members. You don't care about what they think. So of course you're hurting for funding. Do the audit. Things will start to fix itself. It's like a company saying that sales are going down. Let's keep cutting our marketing. We're not going to sell to our customers. We're not going to keep them happy. We'll just keep producing our shit. Of course, you just keep going to lose customers. Your customers are losing faith in you. Do something to restore the faith, or you're going to keep losing funding. As a company, pull our support for the upcoming convention in Edmonton. We're willing to put that entire money towards this cause. If that is put towards an audit to help restore faith in everything, then so be it. But we're willing to put our money where the mouth is. We want to see an audit. We want to see CVA reform. We want the industry to come back together, united, working together, working towards taking down the effects of big tobacco, or as much as we can. We're very small. We all know that we don't have the billions and billions of dollars that they have. So of course we're not going to be able to do the same things that they can do. And of course we're not going to do a huge dent in their pockets, because at the end of the day, we're very small, and they were out there pushing out glue like 9 years ago, 2009, 2010. Since then, they've been pushing blue, and there are other things. So we're not going to be doing that, but we can do our part. People are divided, of course. Why do you think they're divided, Shai? That's literally what we're saying. They're divided, but no one cares. The CVA, it's the CVA's responsibility to unite people, or it's what? It's whose responsibility is it? Is it just supposed to be thrown up in the air? 40, 50K on an audit to open the doors to the CVA being a credible organization. No one has faith. It's a not-for-profit organization that does not have audited financial statements. Every public company is required to get an audit done every 3 months. You can trust the board, you cannot trust the board. Why do you think it's being done? It's to keep public confidence. Why are audits done anytime? When you have loads of shareholders in a company, they get audited or at least reviewed. Can you answer that, Shai? Was it a compilation, a review, or an audit? If it's a compilation, as a not-for-profit organization, a compilation is not acceptable. Is it a review at least? At least answer this question. Eric said that he would be putting some funds. He was down to put some funds for this. John D, ourselves. So then you've got 3 people who have already come up and said they're willing to fund the audit. So now the question comes to the CVA. Will you open your books to let the auditors come in? Will you give them what they require? So what we're at now is we want the audit again and reform. So it would start with the audit. The audit would bring forward everything. It would put to rest any sort of doubts people have. And when we have members like Sean Casey who have so much controversy surrounding them, it's just not, and we're not again trying to point fingers. From what we have heard, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Ross Morel. There are a few people who have an issue with that. What can be done? Now it comes down to the audit first taking place. We restore confidence in the fact that CVA has not misused the funds over the last few years, and we move forward as a community. What is the new board? What is the new step? Like, what is the new mission statement? And who follows that and who supports that? And I can put this right there in public that if the new CVA supports taking money from big tobacco, I cannot support it in any way. I will not say that I pay towards an association that is also representing the interests of a subsidiary of big tobacco. We have been approached. We have declined any sort of conversation because we have no intention. For us, it's not about the money. At the end of the day, it's not about taking blood money. If we wanted to take blood money, there's a lot easier ways to get a bunch of blood money. It's about making a change. It's about not letting happen again what has already happened to us. Why do we want to open the doors to pods containing cyanide in the next 20 years? We need to make it clear that it's not just about vaping, it's about getting a safer alternative, and the safest alternative, not just a safer alternative. If in 10 years from now, vaping is 60% safer than smoking cigarettes, we've lost. We've gone from 95% safer to 60%. And that is the confidence I have in big tobacco. I can be called a conspiracy theorist, but again, what confidence do we have that big tobacco has the best intentions at heart? So Shay has now said that they're willing to open the books for a audit. So that is perfect. Now, after the audit, are they willing to sit down and reinstate the CVA as the association for Canada, bring to table all the doubts and all the problems that people have and put them to rest? Are they willing to open the doors to communication and start fresh? What are your thoughts on taking money from big tobacco?
That would be actually a good question, yes.
What we feel is that just because big tobacco owns Blue that has vapor products does not mean that they're a vapor company. A vapor company is a company that sole purpose is to create vapor products. If that company gets bought by big tobacco, they become a tobacco company. Are we willing as an industry to let that money in to fuel the cause? Or do we feel that it is tarnishing our name in the long run? So I don't understand what you're saying, Shai. That doesn't even make sense. Like, I was able to raise money. It doesn't mean shit.
So it wasn't the money that's what...
But that's what you said, that we didn't have a choice. We had to take 15K from Blue because they
have deep pockets, and we need those deep pockets to do what we want.
What is it that everyone wants to do? Like, when the billboards were supposed to happen, the 50K was raised, just like you said. So if there's already money, everyone's already got access to funding, why are we letting the poison dealers in our ranks? Let's focus on facts. We're not here to bring people and their personal lives into this matter. What companies do on their own is fine. I don't really care. I'm talking about the industry, the association. The money that was raised for VAO is an example of the fact that the industry can come together. Now, we're not going to talk about the money that was raised. There is a separate talk about that. Again, I'm not pointing any fingers in any way. I personally believe that that 50K is sitting there in the bank, not touched. There's obviously, we're not worried that the members in CVA are stealing money. We're worried that it's not being put towards the right causes. We're worried that the transparency has brought the CVA to the point where it has no confidence in the industry. And we're worried that without an association watching out for the best interests of the vapors in general, that the industry will be taken away and that big tobacco will let it go whatever route they want to. If they are on the same board as us, they are not pushing for the same regulations. If it comes down that they have to pay $1 million for every single flavor that they want to push, they're totally fine with that. To them, that's fine. That's fair legislation. But is it fair? It's not really fair. How many people will that chop out? So VAO is Vapor Advocates of Ontario. They've done an excellent job over the last few years, raising money, doing efforts, doing different things to really show their voice. And I think that the vaping community in general has really shown that there is heart there. It's just, it needs to be cultivated in the right way. It needs to be taken care of. It can't be just thrown away just like that. You know, we're talking about the confidence of people. These are all business people. We're all business people just trying to work together. There's business people and vapors all trying to work together. We have to take into consideration that the public optics are on the line. And so, and in that respect, things like audits, things like not having corrupt boards, things like, you know, when there's a shakeup, like Beatrice getting kicked out, that, you know, there's explanations that come out, that there's something done to put down all the rumors that are going around. You know, when you've got people that are saying that they have personally seen the conversations between Sean and Beatrice and the screenshots between them, about how the flavor testing and emissions testing is in the works. It's unfortunate, and this is a member of CVA, this is a board member, and if the other board members are not, they don't have any of this knowledge, that's concerning as well. Why do the board members not know what the other board member is doing? This really speaks to the backroom deals and the hidden agendas. For us as a company, of course, if what we're trying to push for is vaping, we don't want it to be taken away. At the end of the day, it will affect business. So we are fully transparent, just as everyone else is. You know, we're not bakers fighting for vaping. We're a vape company fighting for vaping because it affects us and it affects our money. But we also believe in the cause. We believe that it's not by any means necessary. We believe that you can't take money from big tobacco to fight big tobacco. Doesn't make any logical sense. And all again comes to the optics. Just as the CVA has lost its credibility, has not taken enough care for the credibility it holds, that's what we don't want the CVA to do for the general public. For now, the general public can look at CVA as an association that represents the interests of vapors. I trust you, Shai, and 100% you have Dash Vape's best interests at heart. But what we cannot deny is that CVA has lost a lot of credibility over the years and has not done, in my opinion, a good enough job of holding that credibility, of holding that transparency, of, you know, really giving confidence to the public. The CVA is going to open the books and let us go through all the books and let all the members have full confidence in where the money has gone over the last few years. We want, like, once this is out, we can actually see. Can you give me examples?
I think that was sort of something before.
I'm not too sure, Shay, what examples. But like people were saying, I personally am on the board of not-profit organizations. We do audits yearly, and it's a full audit because, again, it's about the optics. It is true, like, you know, Shai, no one's saying that, like, the CVA has done anything.
Yeah.
We're saying that they have done enough actions that the people have just lost credibility.
It's the confidence. This is what it's about. Like, this audit is not to find out who's been stealing money. None of that stuff. It's to restore the confidence of the people. And so when this audit happens, we would be happy. And we just got confirmation that once we raise up the money, there will be a full audit of the CVA's books. So let's pat ourselves on the back, everyone.
Usually an audit will run about $5,000 to $10,000 a year for a smaller organization. And so if we're looking at, let's say, the last 3 years, it would be roughly about $30,000. And really what it comes down to is yes, it is shitty to have to spend $30,000 for an audit when really we're trying to fight things. But at the end of the day, it's about the future. You know, why do we do trade shows?
$30,000 is roughly 20 members. You know what I mean? I'm sure with an audit, we will get 20 members into the CVA.
And like the other thing is like, why do companies do trade shows? we put out all this money, but it's to keep the confidence in the public. We don't think that that we don't make significant amount of money at this trade show itself. We're not going to a flea market. We go there to represent the company, just like any not-for-profit has to do its part to represent itself and to make sure that it's public and that its members are kept happy. Because there's no point of a not-for-profit or an association without any members to support that. Just on that audit thing, Shay, just for the record, I was an accountant for 7 years. I worked in a public practice. I was involved in audits. I have personally worked with KPMG and other large companies on audits. I've seen them range from 5K to 100K for large public international companies, which we have worked with, as well as smaller companies. So I'm not talking out of my ass. I am an accountant. We have a CPA that works for us full time. Keezer has an accounting background as well as an economics background. We're not just talking out of our ass. And if you did an engagement review for Dash Vapes or Vape Meat, it's going to be a lot bigger than CVA, in my opinion. You have multiple stores. You have a huge operation going on. We can't deny you are one of the largest in Canada. Yeah. If your review costed $30,000, it's very expected. If you had done a compilation, it would have been at least $10,000, $15,000. You're talking about multiple stores and such complexity there. So for your review to be $30K is totally within the regular realm. When there was a company that was doing about 5-10 million annual revenue that we worked with previously in the past, one of the most recent companies I worked with, the audit costed about 30 grand, 30 to 40 grand for the audit. Again, it really comes down to the size of the company, the complexity, all the different aspects that they have to look into. For an association like CVA, it's fairly simple. You've got members bringing in money and you've got a couple of expenses. There shouldn't be a significant amount to look into, or else that really demonstrates that there's a problem as well. Why are the books not being kept clean enough that the audit can't be done for less than 10 grand a year, maybe even 15 grand a year?
There's a comment from Josh Stokes. Why don't you and Shai sit down and have an actual conversation via video or face-to-face? Nothing can be talked about like this. The reason we're doing this so publicly is because of that transparency. You know, if we called up Shai and had this one-on-one, then it wouldn't solve anything. We want to be able to have full transparency, that all these meetings, just like the meetings we're having right now, this is a meeting, this is out in the open. This is what we want, the full transparency for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're, even if you're a platinum member or a bronze member or whatever, even if you're not a member. People should have, confidence in the CVA, and things should be transparent. And this is the very beginning of the transparency.
We do want to get very involved with the CVA. We want to support them in all ways. I think that this topic of blue has to be revisited as an association. I think that it's unfair to go ahead and do actions that it seems a lot of the members are not very happy with. And again, to recap, it's not about us versus them in terms of this whole thing. There was another comment someone made that, we only care that people start vaping on our terms. It's nothing to do with us or them or anything. It's about, we cannot team up with the enemy. We cannot team up against the companies that we are fighting against. It's just doesn't make any logical sense. Butchers do not donate to PETA. It's because they're on the opposite side. When Big Tobacco comes and they buy our organization and they buy themselves in, it's a game. And they look good. They look like they're supporting advocacy. What do we gain? What do we as an industry take from that? We get their money and their connections, but at what cost? We will be putting up a audit out there. That will be happening. So Shai, definitely, I want to make this clear. I have total respect for Shai, Charlie Pisano, and all these other members. I have nothing against them, both personally and as businesses. I have to commend them for all that they've done. Shai's obviously done a lot. Dash Vapes is a large part of the vaping industry. Vape Meat, all these other companies. And again, none of this can be taken personally. I have nothing against them in any way. Shai, when you're here in town, definitely let's meet up for lunch. I'd love to sit down, even just chat with you as business to business. Let's just hear it out. Nothing is personal. Nothing, hopefully, that if I've said will be taken as an attack on anyone. I want just open conversation. And just for the record, we do not in any way condone the actions of someone yesterday. Adam, he went crazy on someone else. That's not the way that this industry needs to work. If we have issues, they need to be voiced. They need to be brought forward. We need to all communicate as adults and move on.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, yes. Respect is a huge thing. The organization, we want to continue, and we want every single one to thrive. At the end of the day, it really does come back to us against Big Tobacco. I would love to see Dash Vapes, Vape Meat, VanGo, all these other companies that have been here for years working hard. I'd love to see us continue on and not have this industry taken by big tobacco. So on the business side of it, of course, I want us all to prosper, and I want anyone associated with big tobacco to go with the big tobacco side. And they shouldn't be prospering in the future. Of course, there's not much that I, little guy over here, can do about big tobacco. But I believe that as an industry, what we can do here in Canada is really make it understood and make it clear we do not associate with big tobacco, we do not support big tobacco, and that our cause is truly to not only stop people from starting to cigarettes, but we want to stop a new era, a new generation from getting hooked on a new type of addiction, which they will convert. They will take this precious thing, which we call vaping, they will take what we love, and they will mutate it, and they will flip it, and in 10 years, we'll be having the same discussions about how people need to get off of big tobacco's products. Because you and me, Shai, we're not about to start poisoning our product. We're not about to start doing these things. I would hope, and I believe from what I've seen from you, you're not about to do that either. Seeing Charlie come out as a family man. We all are family people or people that are community-based, and we care about the people that we work with. We care about the people around us. No one wants to see tobacco come in and rip this industry the way that they've done it before, and we just want that. In that confidence, we have no faith in them. Let's just band together as the vape community and do what we really can and show them that Canada is united against big tobacco.
No, it's definitely a constructive one. I do want to thank everyone for joining us here, especially Shai for answering some of those questions. Really, we felt like we did get somewhere. I'm going to continue with this with the community. Everyone, thanks for tuning in, putting your inputs. Thanks for everyone for keeping it professional and not in this bashing. That was awesome. We had some good conversations here, good chats. Of course.
And a big thank you to Shay for staying around the whole time. That was good. Thank you for everyone who's come out. Thank you for everyone who's reached out over the last 2 days and has very clearly and eloquently expressed their concerns. And going forward, hopefully we'll see the audit happening right away, and we will see some reforms so we can all work together as an industry and really take vaping to a new level. We're all at fault for not being as involved as we should have been for the last few years. Sure. And now, us as a company, this is our commitment. We are dedicating to this cause, and in regards to not accepting help and support from Blue, we are willing, as well as I'm sure many people are willing, to come step to the plate. Let's fix CVA and let's move forward as an industry. Thank you. Take care.